Let's take you on a time jump, virtual zoom, bringing it back to Theodore's bedroom. These hands are passionately polysyllabic, putting the Jeopardy theme on swings. 10 dons giving predictions, balancing vibes like the sons and daughters of Ipwan. Ear to the ear to the underground, flicking off peppermint, fresh experiment. Let's go. El Premier Elemento, you gotta take your time, press your fingers to the line. Red man, focus your mind. And once you do that, you're at the front of the combine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of our street art virtual lesson plans. My name is Max Gibbons. Thanks again. This is week 3. We are going to have another class next week and we're going to round out the session. So thanks again for joining. Really excited to be here with all of you. It's a nice bright and sunny day after a rainstorm here in Brooklyn, and I hope you're all having a great week as well. Coming to you, if you're watching this live, last week would have been the Street Art Sticker Expo that we're talking about. So if you were able to go and attend that in person in the DC area, hope you had a great time. I spoke with the organizer, I Will Not. He said around 30 to 40 people were able to attend. There was an artist talk. They were able to walk around the gallery and check that out. And they were also able to do a couple sticker trades and draw together, which I think is really interesting. Something I've been talking a lot about in class. So I hope you've been having a good time. I will pivot to the slide deck, and we're going to be talking about a different set of sticker history and use and importance today. So I really wanted to show this first image, as our starting slide. We've been talking a little bit about the use of those postal stickers last week, and this is a really interesting sticker because these two placed next to each other actually have 3 different artists across 2 stickers. So there's one artist that goes by EKG, which I think is a really fun moniker, and their tag, they almost never write out their actual name, but they use an orange marker or an orange spray paint can to do these kind of like heartbeats that you'd see on an EKG monitor. And you can see these across, the bottoms of mailboxes or doorways or stairs leading to the subway. And if you just see this one line with a simple kind of like heartbeat zigzag motion, you know that that's something that somewhere where that graffiti writer, that street artist was, and they left their mark. And I really like this because it's interacting with 2 character artists here. Krusty, who's this kind of like funny looking blob of a character with these kind of, spirally eyes. And you can see the EKG line is kind of going into his eyes and light is shooting out, which I think is really interesting. And then this other artist chose to not interact directly with the line itself, but to go around it. So this is Wish, and you can see the circular head with the eyes and the teeth, and then the tags are over here. So I'm going to go to the next slide and kind of go over what we're going to be doing today. So the goals of today, we're going to be going over printed stickers. So after you've developed your tag or your moniker or your style or your character, whatever that might be, the way that you can potentially use actually, that image replicated more quickly and more singularly in a printed fashion. We're going to go over again the style of those characters and then go over some of the different tools, different types of stickers, how their longevity can actually be seen on a material. So I'm going to show you why it's important to choose your materials wisely, why it's important to use different markers, different things for your artwork, and then go from there. So really quickly, I did want to talk about something that isn't directly related to stickers, but something that does have some similarities or singularity with street art and graffiti, and that is ad busting. So as you can see on here, ad busting, also called subvertising, is like the opposite of advertising. So as you're walking around in the streets, most of us will see, if you're in an urban setting, advertisements. You're on the train, there's ads on the train on the inside. You're passing subway platforms that have advertising space. You're passing billboards that have ads on them. You're listening to the radio, you're listening to advertisements. So this is the opposite of that. It's taking that space that might be designated for advertisements that some corporation or company are paying for, and you're replacing that with your artwork. All street art and graffiti could be considered ad busting to a certain extent, because a blank wall or a billboard or something that was not made for or not designated for public artwork is now being repurposed by an artist. But for our purposes, and why stickers are so useful for this, is because they can cover that thing very quickly. You get your message out there. It can be political. It does not necessarily have to be. But some would argue that there is an inherent political nature in, placing artwork where otherwise there would be advertisements. So it really depends on the artist and their own approach there. Another form of this is culture jamming. So it's like guerrilla communication, right? So you're putting your messages out there where people, have to see them. Maybe people wouldn't see your message or your poetry or artwork if you have it in the studio or in a sketchbook or something. But now you're putting it out there, right? For them, they can't miss it as they're waiting for their bus or as they're walking to work or whatever that might be. Here are just a few examples. And once again, these aren't stickers specifically, but I will get into a sticker artist who used this ethos in their work. But again, it can be playful. It doesn't have to be overly political. It could be really what you want as an artist to use it as. I picked these two because they're different approaches to this art with the same subject matter. So it is McDonald's. This isn't a jab directly at that corporation or anything like that, but they are a common punching bag for some street artists. But this one on the left is by Ron English. You can see it's a billboard. So this billboard space was designated by the city, by the owner, whatever that might be, and it's surrounded by graffiti, which is really interesting. So these are throws and tags from different artists in New York. And then this artist, Ron English, took essentially giant sticker or wheat paste, which is paper pasted to a wall with water and flour, oftentimes a mixture of both. It makes a gooey paste that you can put on and make your paper stick to there. And you see over 50 billion instead of served, which is the model, right? At McDonald's, it's supersized. And then this on the right is by an artist named Zebs, who, the color is already there. You've got the, ubiquitous image that we all recognize, the M, the golden arches for McDonald's. And the artist simply sprayed paint down the side so it looks like it's dripping or falling apart. So it's a really interesting approach to street art, and one that can be also replicated or built upon or continued through stickers as well. You can think of wheat paste as a large sticker, but it's more work, right? Because you need to mix the supplies. It's more involved. Stickers, all you do, automatic adhesive, ready to go. I really liked this one, and I did want to share this as well. Advertising is getting you to look at it. So this artist either painted over in white, or this was already a blank space between ads being put up, but they used, it looks like a stencil or maybe a large sticker, again, to put up their message. It says, hey, look at me, I'm an ad. Don't look at those other ads. I'm the one you're supposed to be looking at. Kind of like if you've ever seen the movie They Live, there's a character that puts on sunglasses and all the ads go away and he sees the real message, which says, consume or eat or obey or whatever that might be. And that actually brings us to the artist that we're going to be talking about first, Shepard Fairey. So that obey message in the movie was something that really caught on with him as an artist. And he took an image of Andre the Giant, who was a wrestler, and he made this very stylized version of the face. There are other stickers that were less stylized. Andre the Giant has a posse. It had some information about him as a wrestler, his height, his weight, all these other things. But this image of obey, this face looking over you, very 1984, you're not really sure. And because people are not necessarily used to seeing ads for something that they're not being sold, right? You see a toothpaste ad, it's for toothpaste. You see a car ad, it's for a car. But you see this message of obey and this face, and you don't necessarily know what it is, especially when it first came out in the 1990s. Is it to provoke fear or interest or recognition, or is it an art project? You don't know what it is necessarily right off the bat. And for Shepard, the sticker really had no meaning, right? He chose an image because he liked it. He chose this message because he liked it. And the only meaning behind putting these stickers out to the public was to get people to react to them. The reaction was the artwork. Like all graffiti, there is an element of, performance art to a certain extent. You're going and putting your artwork out there physically. You're, jumping over a fence or climbing a billboard or putting the sticker physically on a stop sign, whatever that might be. But there's no meaning behind this message necessarily. There's no crew that was putting it out there. There's no message overtly political or not. So it was pretty cool. It was nonsensical almost. And, the viewer is able to take away what they want from the message. Those colors are used throughout his work, and that's something that we're going to talk about a lot today, which is using, a very specific color palette or your style. If you look at the stylized nature here of that, black, white, and red, this is, cream, but it's still white necessarily almost, very similar colors. And for those who are surrounded by the sticker, then they can see the very similar style in these pieces and know that it's a Shepard Fairey work. That word obey is seen again, so you can see that right there. Having those stickers or seeing these posters, it's a keepsake, it's a memento. It sticks out in their daily lives. It's totally different than what they're seeing. And with a sticker, with this repetitive message, you can put it everywhere. This gets back to what we were talking a little bit about last week, how a character as your moniker, or your graffiti name, or your street art name might be more recognizable to the general public than a tag that might look too stylized or too hard to read, that might be less palatable to people that are not in the graffiti or street art community. If you put up 1,000 obey stickers and you do 1,000 tags, people will recognize the face and the message that's very easy to read, potentially more so than your tag. So if you're putting your artwork out there to have notoriety or get noticed, that's the way to do it. There was a great quote when Shepard was explaining this that I found on the internet. Let's see, never really knew the obey. There's actually there's a couple documentaries on Shepard Fairey that you can find on YouTube to learn more about him. There's also a stylized and I guess fictionalized retelling of how he came up with his design at the Rhode Island School of Design at RISD. So it's like a biopic about him. But he said the art of stickers isn't just about what's on them, but how they are ingrained in the environment. So thinking about the most common places the stickers are, it's where people can physically reach. Eye level for people to see them. Necessity is the mother of invention. So you can find different stickers that work different ways for different environments. I've seen people, if you think about the inside of a newspaper box, which are also leaving the streets all the time because there's less newspapers, but some people would put their sticker on the outside. So you do your artwork on the regular paper part of your sticker and then stick it on the outside. And then if you wanted it to last longer and not be exposed to the elements, people would actually peel off their sticker at their house right on the sticky side with their ink that would really sink in. And then they would open the newspaper box and place it on the inside so it lasts a lot longer, but it wasn't mirrored. I did just see a comment come up. Would you say more graffiti artists are using social media for public reaction? So I would say overall, yes. There are very few graffiti writers now who have little to no social media presence. I think graffiti and street art has changed drastically with the advent of social media and websites and platforms, Instagram especially. There are a few graffiti writers that have no social media presence and they let other people take pictures of their work. But now I'd say most can get that clout very quickly. Previously, if you wanted people to see your work, you needed to be up, right? You need to put your street art in the streets. You need to do your tags in lots of places so lots of people could see them. Now you could take a picture of one tag, post it with the right hashtags, and thousands of people can see it on the internet. There are a couple street artists and graffiti writers who have actually thought about this a lot. And if you're putting your artwork out because you want to be seen and recognized, some people have actually been photoshopping their tags into famous landmarks or over a piece of artwork in a museum and posting that image online. And it's harder to find out if that actually happened or if it's real or fake or not, but they still get the views. They still get the eyeballs looking at their artwork. So that's a great question. But once again, for me and for a lot of these artists, it is incredible and important to see artwork on the streets. I'll see an Instagram post of a spot in New York City where an artist did an amazing piece, but then I want to go see it in person, right? Obviously, for some people, you can't do that. You can't go to a different city and see it in real life. I do think that overall, social media and the internet has been good for graffiti and for street art and for the culture of each. Some people would disagree, and I welcome that conversation. But for a lot of its history over the last 60 years, when graffiti has really been known as what it is, there's been a heavy emphasis on the mentor and mentee relationship, someone who kind of went through it, learned, knew the best caps to use, the best stickers, the best markers, where to go, where to practice, where you won't get caught. And if you didn't have that mentor, you would learn the hard way. And now you can do this on the internet. You can learn different styles from people. You can trade stickers. You can take tutorials, take classes like this one. So overall, I'd say it's been beneficial to grow the cultures. But I do welcome any opinions or differences of opinion, obviously, to that. Another artist who uses a sticker, and this is a slightly controversial artist, I'll get to that in a minute, but they went by the name BNE, and they had a series of stickers that just said BNE or BNE was here, with characters in another language that also meant was here. This artist almost exclusively used stickers as their way of getting their artwork out there, which was just their name, and a very simple to read, legible black and white sticker. These stickers were eggshell stickers, which is something I'll talk about a little bit later. They're different than the paper stickers that you get at the post office, or a thermal sticker, or a hello my name is sticker that's also paper. They're destructible vinyls. They're really hard to remove, and they're very good at being weather and climate resistant. So this artist would order, this very simple printed sticker in the tens of thousands, and they would go through around 10,000 stickers a month. They would, take a trip to a new city, blanket the city with stickers, put them all over. You can see in this picture alone, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each of these poles coming out of the frame. So, you just see the name everywhere, not knowing what it meant. At one point in, I believe, 2009 or 2010, there was actually a cash reward in San Francisco for any information on the identity of this artist, because they were putting up so many stickers. It was just blanketing the city. And there's actually an interview with this artist that I found online, and they said that their tag and the way that they were using these stickers, and this gets back to our earlier conversation today, was almost ubiquitous from a corporate logo. Like, think about IBM or CBS or something where there's just the letters, right? It's short, it's recognizable. You can see that, BNE was here. And, you might pass 5 or 6 Coca-Cola ads in a day, or 2 McDonald's logos and a bunch of BNE logos, and you'd see them, and you're making those connections that you're passing by. To end the quote, the artist said, "I cannot do 500 tags a day, but I know that I can put up 500 stickers." And I think that's really interesting when you think about the amount of time that it takes for an artist to, in this case, print the stickers. They're not physically, drawing each one. The hand of the artist is slightly removed, but they're still physically going out into the streets and putting them up and putting them out into the public. So it really skirts the line. Some people would call this extreme vandalism. Some people would call it street art. Some people would think about it almost as a performance art, that daily grind of going out and not getting caught and putting up stickers continuously. The next slide here I actually have is of, I believe, a short news segment that ran, and I'll show you, if you're talking about being famous, right, on the streets at least, and putting up artwork, anytime someone takes a picture and hashtags your thing, your sticker that you put out there, the mural that you did, there's some type of satisfaction. So for an artist to be featured on the local news about, who is this artist? What do these stickers mean? It's actually really interesting. So I'll just show a short clip from this, and excuse if the sound quality is not great either. This came out almost 15 years ago. So let's see.
ありました。消火器のケースに BNE 参上と貼られています。秋葉原の路上の至るところに貼られた BNE 参上と書かれたステッカー。聞いたことないです。なんかこうおちゃらけて貼ってるのかなみたいな。よくある街角に貼られたステッカーのようですが、あった。ありましたありました。新宿で、そしてあった。BNE 参上。渋谷で、さらに シール発見です。表参道でも形や表記は様々ですが BNE の文字が入ったステッカーを都内各地で続々発見。
So I love that clip because it shows the regular person on the street, right? Seeing this all the time and not knowing what it is. And for you in this class, you can see in a lot of those clips or in those shots, you know, the sticker is next to other stickers or it's next to other graffiti, or you can see it's on the back of a sign. Like obviously someone with a graffiti background has been placing those intentionally on those locations, but without that message. And right, yeah, so it's so cool to see these up all over the world. And that's what's amazing too. So, you know, it might not be the most stylized. I love seeing the hand of the artist. I love seeing a sticker that someone took the time to put their artwork on and then put it on the street and walk away and leave it, you know, where it is. So I do prefer seeing and collecting and making stickers myself, but there is something to be said about the printed stickers, the Obey stickers, the BNE stickers, where, you know, the artist is still maybe putting them out there, still, you know, you can see where they walk down the street and they put all the stickers up. But you could also send them to someone else and they can put them up just the same way that you as the artist would have done. So it is a little bit of an interesting thing to think through, very different than some of the character stickers we were talking about last week, the, you know, the tagged stickers when you do it yourself, you know, pen to paper essentially. Let me make sure this doesn't play again, and I'll go to the next slide. So an artist, and I wanted to show you this as well, once again, sticking with the sticker theme, but also today's just like adjacent, if you will. This is an artist from the Northeast, Ichabod, or Ick for short. One of the most, I would say, up or famous graffiti writers, mostly for their work on trains. A lot of this class has been talking about stickers in urban environments and graffiti in urban environments, where graffiti really started in New York and Philadelphia. But that doesn't mean that graffiti can't be found in other locations. And something that people in more rural areas or cities or metropolitan areas that weren't like a big city like New York or somewhere else have realized that if you put your artwork on freight trains, it can leave your town and go across the country and go to places that maybe you would never go. So Ichabod has done thousands and thousands of freight trains, and that is no exaggeration. The artist uses a very legible style. These letters, almost in a tick-tock style. You can see it's like tick-tock, almost like the hands of a clock. It's very legible. You can read this from, you know, hundreds of feet away. And they usually do this skull icon next to the letters as well, kind of accompanying it. Changing colors, changing sizes, but this is the standard Ick stamp. It almost looks like a sticker placed onto, you know, the side of a freight train that's, you know, 25 feet tall, X feet long. Huge, huge, you know, artwork. But something that's really interesting about Ichabod and how famous this artist is in the train graffiti, that very specific scene, is that if you think about model trains and people that collect model trains, they want their trains to look as accurate as possible, you know, in their collection. So they actually have created and sell in model train stores stickers that replicate the graffiti that's found on freight trains rolling across America. So even though this artist isn't necessarily affiliated with or known mostly for their work on stickers, their stickers have been replicated and reproduced, you know, in this format, so people can buy them and put them on freight trains to make it more realistic. And I think that's amazing that this artist who has put in so much of their time and effort and artistic talent into this extremely small subset of this culture or of artwork that regular people would notice, you know, in their day-to-day lives, they've been recognized by the community that respects freight trains and collects them and has, you know, modeled trains and all this. So if we zoom in slightly onto this image, you can see these sheets of stickers. You know, this is an entire sheet on the left of just Ichabod, different versions of that tick-tock letter, a couple others here and here, which I think is just really interesting. And then people buy them and put them on their trains. That being said, you know, these are printed stickers. We're talking about printed stickers today. There is an artist that I wanted to show that's created their own sticker packs. So the same way people would collect like Garbage Pail Kids stickers, if you're of that generation, or like you'd go to the grocery store and they have the the machine up front where you can put a couple coins in and get a couple stickers out of it to decorate your notebook or your room or whatever that might be. There's a street artist that goes by the name Buff Monster, and their icon or their characters these days are very colorful. I'd love to zoom in and just show you some of these as well. And you can actually buy these stickers directly from the artist. They became pretty well known in the Los Angeles area for putting up thousands of posters that they had silk screened and made themselves, tens of thousands of stickers. And they're very much inspired by those Garbage Pail Kids, right? This artist actually made like packs of stickers the way you'd open up like a pack of trading cards. And so you don't know what you're going to get when you buy the pack. It's kind of exciting. They're called the Melty Misfits, which is fun. Happy, bubbly characters. And if you walk down the street and you see, this eyeball character with, maybe a tooth or a couple teeth sticking out, and you see another one and another one and another one. After like 5 or 6 times, a month later, you might see that again. Oh, I remember seeing that. So having that style, having that commonality across your stickers or across your artwork is so important. This is totally different than the stickers of BNE or Obey that we were looking at. But you can see how, this is extremely similar to this. It looks like an ice cream scoop or a cloud with the one eye can be replicated in different ways. Maybe it's smiling, maybe it's sad, maybe it has a longer eye, maybe it's tired. But that character design is kind of woven throughout. And in this on the left, this is one sheet of stickers, the same way that you'd buy, stickers from your favorite movie or cartoon to decorate your book. And on the right, this is a sticker pack of multiple stickers as well. So again, this is another way that a lot of artists, they're not just putting their artwork out in the streets necessarily without permission or with permission, but they can also sell their work online. That's something that I think is extremely interesting. If you're making a character, if you're working on your lettering, those are all skills and talents that can be used in different ways. So this artist, created a character that looks like a cartoon character and has this, happy, bright, expression, and people that maybe wouldn't, notice that or see that in the streets can recognize that as something they still want to collect or have in their home or on a notebook or something like that. That said, what I'll close out the slide deck with, and what I try to mention each week, is that, of course, street art belongs on the street. There's something special to seeing street art out in the wild and seeing, knowing that an artist was there and chose that location to put their artwork. It's intentional. Artists are very careful usually when they put their art in different areas. If they see a sticker from a friend or someone else in their community, they'll put another sticker next to it, and they kind of spreads. I think today or yesterday was the 50th anniversary of an article called Taki 183 Spawns Pen Pals. Taki was one of the first real, graffiti writers in New York. Went around writing his name all over, and then other people saw that, and you see a Taki tag, and a few days later, other tags would start coming around it, and more and more people started doing graffiti. I actually have over here on my wall, let's see if I can get this off, a framed sticker that I have in my collection from him. So you can see this on a priority label, one of my prized possessions, because this tag is, part of graffiti history, which is kind of cool. So wanted to show that street art belongs on the street is what I'll close out our slides with. All right, so what I want to do now is show you the differences that sticker choice would make. So I've got a piece of cardboard here, and I will put different stickers onto here. As I'm doing this, please ask any questions based on today or last week or anything along those lines. But I'm going to show you the stickers we've been talking about overall in the class and why choosing different ones matters when you are thinking about what to put your artwork on. So we'll start with the Priority Mail label, peel that, and I'll put it onto here. Make sure it's nice and flat. I'll use a thermal label. So one of the completely blank ones that we're talking about. With heat, ink can be applied and then an image would show up, but for our purposes, you can use a marker or anything like that. We'll use an older postal mail. These aren't really used as much anymore. We can still get these occasionally in different locations. And why I'm doing this to show you the difference is because there are actually different properties between, at least what I've seen, in the adhesive backing of this one compared to the other. So I'll put that right below our other priority mail label. So there we go. Common hello, my name is sticker, paper-based, crack and peel because it has this side here. So you crack that and then you peel the label off. So let me just start that. Here we go. Regular hello, my name is sticker. And then last but not least, we're going to use one of those eggshell stickers that I was talking about. So eggshell sticker, destructible vinyl, a little bit heavier, and unlike these other labels, other than the hello, my name is, usually you can find these online, art supply stores, graffiti shops if you live in a major metropolitan area that has one. And I'll peel it carefully because they are very brittle and they actually break when you try to peel them off sometimes. So applying that all here. All right, so here are our stickers, all in the same material. Imagine this as, you know, a piece of wood or a wall or something like that. And let's see the results. Thermal label, trying to peel this from the top. You can see it comes right off. Starting from bottom down here, and like that, your sticker is gone. Priority mail labels. Let's see. You know, try to peel that. It's coming off. It's a little bit harder. Still coming off, you know, in one piece. There you go. The new ones that are a little bit bigger. Try to peel this. Comes off instantly. You know, not even sticking really to the cardboard. Unlike the other. The hello, my name is sticker. Actually, a little bit better, which is interesting. You can see how much of the paper it's sticking to with the adhesive. So it fared a little bit better than those priority mail labels. But then we get to the eggshell. So let me try this. Nothing. And when you try to peel, and I'll get like a marker or something, but you can see how it breaks apart, it flakes away. And it only comes off in little bits, almost like an eggshell. So here I am trying to, you know, peel it off, and it's literally breaking into little bits here. You can see like that. So these are what a lot of graffiti writers have started to use. The stickers that I was showing before of Shepard Fairey and BNE are almost exclusively eggshell stickers. And I'm trying to get, you know, a knife here to even show you. When I try to take this off, you see it break like that. You know, you can peel off a little bit, but when you try to peel off any more, it just flakes away. So it's very hard for people to get these off. And that's why a lot of the printed stickers, instead of printing on you know, paper, you know, they'll actually go for this. So kind of interesting. Wanted to show you that. Any questions on the material covered today, or anything related to the stickers? Would love to talk about that before we switch over to the other camera. All right, no questions at this time. So with that in mind, we will cut over. So give me 1 second while I set that up. And I'll show you the Obey image again. Thinking about the repetition in your work, right? And thinking about that as well when you're doing even handmade stickers and the importance of using the same materials, maybe changing it here and there. Okay, so let me just switch my camera. All right. And apologies if there's any echo. I'm going to open the drawer here. I'm going to grab some of these stickers and we get started. All right. Can you hear me? Great. So these are thermal labels. I'm starting with these because they're just completely blank, and they'll give us a good canvas to work on today. Usually pencil doesn't really show up on these, so let's take a look. Good for us to sketch and then remove. I made a couple labels for our Academy director the other day, Serena, so I'll start with that. I'll move this more so you can see it, and we'll go this way. So thinking about your design, something I'll talk about a little bit is the basics of lettering for our purposes, at least today. So if you're very new to street art and graffiti, we're going to talk about basic bars. So if you think about a letter, this is maybe something you learned in middle school, making bubble letters, something like that. But let's start with the S, right? So you've got an S here. That would be your regular shape. And then if you wanted to make this bigger, something you could do is draw additional lines surrounding it. So what I would do is I would draw a line here and a line here. And then I would connect this to there, almost making it like a fatter letter. So as you can see, it's almost like a bevel. Actually, you can make beveled letters like this, but for our purposes, we're going to make maybe like a drippy kind of letter. So now that I've got this border around the shape that we had drawn, I can start tracing in any way that I want. And for our purposes, I will make it kind of like inspired by that Buff Monster character that we were looking at. So I'm kind of making like wiggly lines, kind of like slime, maybe like a bubble here. Make some drips. Maybe another bubble here. There you go. A little bit of glare, but you can see all I did was trace that initial shape of the S and do that letter. Now, that's how just inspired by the artist that we were just looking at. But this is something that a lot of graffiti writers do, especially when they're first starting off and learning about the letter structure that they're trying to build. So if I took, not just that S like you would draw it, as if you're writing your name, but maybe something more stylized. So let's go with still an S, but let's make the shape a little bit different. So you can see how it's still an S, but it's got this kind of like stylized top here. It's got longer, and this is almost touching. So it's same letter, but a little bit different. And now let's think about adding those bars, but then adding more of them and trying to make this larger. So again, I'll make one off the tail here. I'll make one off the tail here. But then I'll just start to do little outlines. Maybe this, instead of it being as round as the one on our left with that kind of like slime soft look, let's go for something a little more like mechanical or straight line. So I'll add like maybe a tail coming off down here. Think about the shape of your letter. Do you ever use a chisel tip Sharpie over a fine tip? So you can, if you wanted to. For my purposes, I liked the with bullet pointed markers rather than chisel tip, and for just to visualize the difference. So a chisel tip marker has that broad, flat chisel. You can see there. and the bullet pointed markers have that round tip there. So very different lines are made with each. If I did the same outline with a chisel tip, it would look very different. I wanted a uniform line throughout the outline here. But just to show you very quickly, if I did do it with a chisel and I kept the chisel at the same angle while doing it, so I'm not really going to move it around, you get kind of a different effect. Let me just... and I know this is a lot faster than the other one, but you can see how the line width actually changes depending on how you're holding your marker. Something I would absolutely go into in a calligraphy lesson or a calligraphy lesson. Because if you hold the marker going a certain way compared to the other, you get different sized lines. Unlike the bullet point where it stays the same. Great question though. So for this one over here, I'm going to keep adding to this, thinking about going around the line that I initially drew. Maybe adding some more straight lines instead of that curve, up here. Maybe it has a hard line over here, but I'm still kind of just mirroring or going around the shape of the letters. So I'm going to go this way, bring this around, maybe add something there. All right, so now I've got a couple more lines drawn on that S. Let's see what happens when we outline it. And excuse me while I move the sticker around, but it helps to draw straight lines. Something I've learned is when you're making a straight line, you can pull your straight line, and it's a lot easier for your hand if you're grounding your hand. And if you're doing a curved line, you can push that away from you, and it's a lot easier for you to do that. You can pull the straight lines and push the curved lines. At least that's the way that I start to draw them. Maybe happy, maybe helpful. So let's see, there we go. And maybe I'll do something up here and then connect. So you can see that's kind of the shape. And again, you can see the body of the letter underneath. That S shape is still there from the original one that we drew. But by simply going around it and kind of making it a little bit larger, you can start to fatten your letters out. You can make it totally different. So 3 examples, again, of the same letter, just looking very different, and a couple tips on how to hold your marker when you're making these lines. Again, this is all applicable when you're actually drawing on paper or a sticker. So with spray paint, a little bit different to make those full body motions when you're making a shape or when you're outlining something like this one. But I really like the look of this slime one. So let's do a full word with this approach. If anybody wants to write a word or a name or something in the chat, would love to get any examples. If not, I'll just pick one at random and we'll kind of go for it. So I'll wait 30 seconds while you're thinking about things. We got about 14 minutes left in class, so I'll do a couple more stickers very quickly. Hopefully teach a couple tips and tricks for you to really think about your stickers. Additionally, I think it would be important and interesting to use a different type of sticker as well. So we'll use this one first since it is a blank canvas, essentially a piece of paper. But it is important to think about if you're using a different canvas, right, a different sticker, how your letters would interact with the shape. All right, I've got sick, S-I-C-K. So thinking about, I'll do it on the back. So you've got S-I-C-K. Love when words don't repeat letters. It makes it a lot easier on me as an artist because then they don't have to look uniform. Also, really enjoy these letters because they all have different weights to them. The S kind of has this curvy bit. I is very straight up and down. The C can have that body to it of being round, similar to the S. And the K has the straight line similar to the I. So great word choice. Similar, 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 similar. Anyway, all right, let's make a stylized version of that word. So we've got our canvas here. And like I was showing you earlier, I'm actually going to write out the letters first to kind of get a sense of where they will be on the page. There you go. So you can kind of see in the pencil, you got your S, I, C, K. Good word choice, again, because we're making it kind of slimy and gross, which I think is kind of fun. So it kind of goes with the word. That's also something to consider when you're choosing your colors or your design is, maybe it's happy, it's bubbly, it's got a lot of colors, or maybe it's dark and it's, heavy metal and it's spiky, and you're making it, darker colors. So, totally different things. So now I'm going to circle, I'm going to, trace around what I just drew, the letters that I just drew. I'll do another one here for the I. You can see I'm being very quick here because since it is kind of that wobbly, drippy lettering, it doesn't have to be perfect. Got the K over here. Oh, I'm going off camera. The K kind of coming up maybe over here around to the one that I just drew and going that way. So you can see the bones of the letters are underneath, and then I kind of just use shapes around them. These would be bars or circles, very beginner graffiti lettering, very simple letters. You're not going for a wild style here, really complicated. What I'm going to do now is actually trace. Since I've got the trace, I'm going to grab a different color and I'm going to start to color this in. So, I'll outline this in, whoops, that color isn't showing up. I'll outline this in black when I go over it. But let's see. So I'm just coloring this in, and you might be able to hear my cat in the background. So I'm going to color in the lines where I kind of put the pencil marks down. A little bit of glare on there, but you can see the S. Maybe draw a couple of drips coming down. And this doesn't really matter right now because imagine you're using spray paint and you can always go over it. So the good thing about this color and the marker is that I'm going to be going over it in black for the outline. So I'll just start there and I'll do these two letters and I'll show you what we're working with. All right, kind of quick, but you've got your S and your I right there. Let it dry for like 2 seconds, and then I'll grab just a regular old Sharpie, and we'll see how this looks. So, kind of going over here, making very small movements, and mostly shapes like U's. You can kind of see how that's starting right there. You know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to actually connect one of these streams to the I, so it looks like they're connected. And I'll show you how that's going to look in a second. Let me see if I can tilt the camera ever so slightly so I can get rid of that there. No, not entirely. Oh, there we go. I'll just move it down here. And you can see my hand a little bit better. So I'm going to leave this here so it looks like they're kind of connected, right? Going over the S. You can see maybe some of this connection down here. Top of the I. And there is overlap, so you want to make sure to
make sure that your letters are a little bit distinct. But then I'll put a big drip here, maybe a smaller one down there. There you go. So you outlined your drippy kind of letters here. I can put maybe some extra drips off to the side. Yeah, some more lines here. You know, we only used 2 colors right now. We've only used black as the outline and green as the fill. But you can see already how legible and how distinct that is. Let me fill out the rest of the letters. You know, very quickly, just tracing where our lines were from before. Maybe throwing, you know, a bubble or 2 up here, maybe a drip, some drips down here, and the K, which is over here. And again, this is something that you could do with any, you know, letter. It doesn't have to be drippy. It doesn't have to be this word. It doesn't have to be, you know, this approach. But putting those bars or those circles around the word that you choose to write is a really easy way to get introduced to graffiti lettering and start to really experiment and make it your own. So let me just throw a couple circles and stuff. We'll do one over here, maybe something down here. All right, so now we've got our word written out. And we will continue with the outlining. So again, you got your marker here, making it connected here. Maybe it looks like that. Yeah, something like that for the I. You see the connection point on the C. I'm trying to make sure that everything kind of connects in some way, just so it looks like all these letters are kind of molded together. You know, put a couple bubbles up there. You can see on the C over here, some drips. Big drip there. Oops. And then I'll start filling in some additional things here. You know, just little lines here and there to make it look like there's movement, you know, maybe something like that. You know, just making it look like it's just really dripping off. And there's your sticker. Now, if you wanted to, you can always draw like a 3D around it. Kind of give it that 3-dimensional look. Let's see. And then you could choose another color for the background. So I've kind of drawn that 3D coming off to the right-hand side, almost like a 1/4 inch each way in the same direction, and then kind of outlining once again around your letters. Let's see if this orange shows up on the sticker. Hopefully none of these markers over here will clatter as I pull it out of my wall. Let's see. Nope. It shows up a little bit, but let's choose a better color. Yeah, that's a little bit better. You can see the ink is bleeding a little bit, but yeah, once again, depends on your materials and what you're using. but you can make that kind of 3D color if you colored this in a little bit slower to designate where the letters end or that 3D begins. Choosing contrasting colors here, hoping that it's looking okay. And then I'll kind of just go a little bit faster here so you can see. But yeah, the color gets picked up a little bit with these markers on this type of sticker, but overall it still looks pretty good. And again, if you're, putting this somewhere, or trading it with a friend, or putting it on a notebook, it kind of adds to the character of the sticker as well. Some of that color, bleeding through. I'll just color down here. Make sure that this looks kind of uniform. And as you can see, this hasn't taken me that long necessarily. I mean, obviously you could take longer for your letters or your coloring or, outlining or design. But this is why it's so great to be able to make stickers at home, is because you can create so many of them. You could do tons of this. I wouldn't necessarily have the time to do this if I was out and about with spray paint or with markers on the streets. But here, I'll show you here. So there you go. So that's your sticker. I'm trying to make sure you can see it. For additional letters or things, so I'll write maybe something on the top here, just because you have all of that white space towards the top. So I'll just do and I'll change to a different marker. I'll change to black. Filling out the top. So using that same, oh, thank you. Yeah, so not the best ever, but not the worst. Very quick, kind of shows what this could look like. And I know we're almost at time. So there you go, just some quick lettering, how to use the full space of the sticker that you have available. And thanks again for joining. Next week will be, I believe, our final class in this session, but I hope that today was helpful. Again, thinking about the use of printed stickers, different designs, different uses, different ways that you can use the stickers, and how different stickers actually can be placed, and which ones have the longest runtime, longevity, once you actually do your artwork on them. So thanks again, everybody. Can't thank you enough for the participation in the chat, as always, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Hi, welcome to my art studio at home. My name is Isaiah Crow. I want to tell you a little bit about me and who I am and some of my philosophies and how I came across meeting Words Beats in Life. I am a muralist, but more importantly, I consider myself a communicator. And I do this through painting murals, through books I've written, through traveling and facilitating introspective workshops, as well as speaking engagements that are participatory. And see, this is where I mirror myself with Words Beats in Life, because I've worked with them already for several years. In different parts of the world, they've invited me to go with them, but I've noticed that Words Beats in Life listens to what the youth is saying. And that, I mirror that. I believe that's very important. You know what, growing up, a lot of us are told that what we're looking for is out there. That what we need in order to feel fulfilled is out there. That in order to be successful, you need to work day and night and grind and can't stop. And I understand that. I understand it. I just don't agree with it. And again, I'm saying this respectfully. What if we showed up every day, just like we do for our work, for our hustle, for our grind? We showed up for ourselves first, and we made sure that we're 100% fulfilled with goodness, with positive thoughts. If somebody mistreats you, if somebody emails you something that's negative, how about we just you're so clear, you're so good within yourself that it doesn't matter because you know who you are. Just fulfill yourself and then pass it on to your family and embrace and accept those that are where they are need to be. You know, I just wanted to take this opportunity because I'm talking about my art. But that is my art. It's communication. I'm just sharing with you who I am and how I think. And if you enjoy the way I think and my philosophies, connect with me. I'm here to share light. I'm here to serve love. I'm here to be of service to those that are doing same or similar. Anyhow, see, I'm getting passionate. I love you all. Great to meet you. Great to connect with you. Connect with me, yo. Let's co-create. Okay, that's what I've been doing with my family for some time now. And then we extend out to with Words Beats and Life and other organizations that are doing similar work. Peace!